Hey everyone, I'm Chris, an app developer here at Appward, and today I'm going to be going over the basics of how to use this screen label icon. The screen label icon is one of the most common and versatile icons in all of Appward. It's used to display text in some way, shape, or form. I'm going to be going over the basics of how to use ScreenLabel today, so hopefully you guys can implement it in your own apps and just have a better understanding of how Appward works in general. So, get your apps together and let's get right to it. Okay, so now I'll come over here into Appward. I have a blank workspace. First, I want to show you guys some examples of how ScreenLabel is used in some of our apps. So, for example, I will open up our, let's say, employees. Every text that you see here, so employee ID, the number itself, name, title, all of these are all screen labels. I can show you if I go into screen design. Here's a screen label, screen label, screen label. As you can see here, they are all screen labels. Another example of when screen labels are used is in, let's say, special events to show types or statuses. These are also all screen labels, so are these numbers. It's just another screen label. Yeah, so as you can see, screen labels are used all over the place. They're extremely useful and, dare I say, necessary for showing all the information that we want to display in our apps. So now that you've seen a couple examples, I'm going to open up my object editor here. I have a handy dandy pop-up here that I've put together to help demonstrate how to use ScreenLabel, so I'll show that here. See, I've already got some examples up there. Go into screen design, and here we go. So, how do we add a screen label? Well, there's a label option right here, so I'll just click on that, and here we are. Place one label here, place another there. Great. Placing a label is as simple as that. Changing a value that's inside of a label, you can just type in here, so hello, right in the value property. And as you can see, the label changed. Now you may have noticed when I was going through the applications earlier, we have some standards for how to style labels throughout our Appward apps. I will show you how to style those based on our standards here. If you right click on a screen label and you click configure screen label, some options will come up as to how you want to design it. So most of our captions, for example, to caption a text box that might be used to display a title or what have you, we use this 9-pixel caption format, which changes the color slightly and makes it smaller, as you can see there. Normally we'd place that just like that on top of a text box. Same with our 10-pixel label. That is already the default, so that did not change. I'll just put this over here. An important thing about labels is that you can bind these values to certain properties of other objects. You can bind these to variables, you can bind them to data table fields, and what have you. In this particular example, I'm going to bind the value of this label to this text box. So whenever I type in this text box, the value will be reflected in this label. So if I come here and I set the value to my parent.text, referring to the parent screen and then its child text box here, /value. Great. As you can see, it went blank, which is a good sign because our text box is blank. I exit out of screen design so I can demonstrate that. And here I'll do test. Oh, that's strange. I'm going to delete this text box and add in a new one. And if I close this, that should bind. Great. So now we'll say test, enter. And there it is. As you can see, the value of the label and the value of the text box now are the same. Now let's say I type something in that's really long into this text box, right? So hello, oops, my name is Chris. All right, and I press enter. As you can see, the value here gets cut off. That is because the screen label's height and width are static. They do not change. However, screen text or screen labels have a fit text width property, which when set to true will allow the text box to shrink and grow in size depending on the value that's inside of here. This is extremely useful when it comes to inputting or pointing to data fields that have values of varying lengths. So if I go over here to fit text width, our fit minimum width here is 40 and our max width is 100. So this box will expand up until 100 pixels wide, and then it will expand downwards. So I'll demonstrate that here. As you can see, the value is bound to text 1, which is this text box here. So I'll close this. So I'll say hello world, and look at that. The text box expanded to the size of the text that's inside of it. Now if I keep typing, my name is Christopher. As you can see, it expanded up until it became 100 pixels wide, and then it moved on to the next line. If I were to instead come in here and remove this max width property, close that out again. Test, test, test. As you can see, it will keep getting bigger, and I will just, my name is blah, 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 blah. This will continue to expand and expand and expand and expand forever. The last thing I wanted to show here, it has to do with multi-line. This particular text box has its multi-line value set to true, as does this label right there. And what multi-line means is when I press enter while typing in this text box, it will create a new line within the text box rather than exiting the text box entirely. Screen labels can also be multi-line, and it will reflect the multi-line state of this text box. So if I type here to demonstrate that, so hello, oops, oh, there we go. And I'll say hello again. And look at that. The new lines have been preserved across text boxes, or across the screen label and the text box. And as far as using a text or a screen label, that should be enough to get you going. I will say there is a lot of other properties here, including styling. As you can see, I changed the back color of these particular labels because I wanted the sizes of them to be, visible for this video. But these back color, the fore color, or in other words, the text color, can be set to anything. There are going to be other videos on ScreenLabel that will go over some of these other properties in a little bit more detail. But for now, this should be enough to get you started. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope now you have a better understanding of ScreenLabel and the context in which it's used, and as well as a little bit of information to get you started on using ScreenLabel. It is a pretty versatile icon, and there are a lot of complex things going on here, and those will be covered more in other videos. If you're more curious about ScreenLabel and you want to learn more about it, feel free to visit our YouTube channel for more videos. On there will also be more videos about how to use Appward in general if you're curious. And you can always visit our website, appward.com, for more information as well. Thanks so much for watching.